But my problem with Galio when you don't have hard engage is that you often struggle to find opportunities to really use that well. Galio pairs so well with hard engage, things like the Nautilus, like the Jarvan, you know, even the Rakan, champions that are guaranteed go buttons. What is your go button here? Your go button is Olaf pressing ultimate and running towards his opponents, and you're hoping that that is going to give you that perfect Galio ult. You know, I struggle to see that happening. So I do think that Cloud9 actually doesn't have the best draft here. That being said, you can use it as counter engage, and one thing I do have to point out is that Galio is incredibly good into Kindred. So what you can actually do is when the Kindred drops the ultimate, you then time your ultimate to land as the Kindred ultimate is expiring. You have the taunt come out of that, and it pretty much guarantees a team fight win if you can get that combo timed perfectly. That being said, the Azir is also there to shuffle people out of that Kindred ult, so it's really going to depend on those interactions and who can use that best if it does come down to team fights.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch for, though. Hey, it's a button you press and say, hey, everyone, look at the circle. Get ready for all the crowd to come down. It's going to be explosive in 3, 2, 1, and then 4 kills on both sides. So, yeah, it's going to be a whole bunch of fun to watch for. I'm glad you mentioned the counter-engage side, because that is what it feels like C9 has to do here is, well, they've got the Ezreal Yuumi poke. They clearly picked for a top lane counter pick, right? We're in a meta game, especially in North America, where you're expecting early Ornn. So getting comps around, well, we're just going to play Gangplank in the second round of the draft, and then we're going to play around side lane, and the rest of our team is wave clear and counter engage. You know, that is at least a look that C9 can show us, and yeah, I want to know if it works well, because on the opposing side, Azir, Kindred, and Aphelios, right? There is some very, very good backline damage on the 100 Thieves side.
Yeah, and I mean, what it feels like to me is that C9 is actually drafting to just go 4-man bot over and over. I think that they're going to use this Yuumi Ezreal to poke out the bottom lane. They're going to use the Olaf to push mid with this Galio to get priority there, and then they're going to do a 4-man roam down to bot side. Olaf runs in to try to dive this turret. Galio is ulting on top of him. You have Ezreal and Yuumi for those ults to try to lock them down. And I think, you see Gangplank just farming up in that top lane, ulting bot on cooldown. I think that is going to be the game plan, so we'll see if 100 Thieves can identify that and react to it. Sometimes it's a lot easier said than done to answer these C9 aggressive plays, because they're so consistent about them. They are so quick to pull the trigger on those moves, and you have got to be matching them, punch for punch, blow for blow the entire game long, or C9 will just run you over.
That's going to be fun to watch for. I'm always intrigued to see compositions that have more of a game plan than just, here's what our 5-on-5 looks like. Well, we counter-engage and we poke beforehand. It's like, no. The comp is around the first 15 minutes where we're just never out of bot lane. Aphelios gets 12 CS at 12 minutes, and, well, better bot wins because it's 4v2 in this lane. Like, that's exciting to me, is seeing a sort of second-level kind of composition where you're doing things that aren't as standard in your generic league compositions.
Yeah, and I mean, you can even see the rune setup for Nisqy is working more towards this as well. You take the minion dematerializer, you can dematerialize cannon waves, instantly wave clear out the rest of that with your QE plus passive, AoE auto, and then guess what? You're roaming, and Azir is stuck having to either give up that wave to match the roam, or is going to be behind on that roam. So that is something that is a really intelligent way to set up if you're looking for this sort of play style. And here we go. Blaber starting off with the sweeper, and notice how he actually donates the CS over to Licorice. If you give that one ward kill to a solo laner, they will actually get that level 2 1 minion sooner, which can actually matter quite a lot in those early levels.
Yeah, Nisqy walked into what I believe was XP range as well, and that should mean that both of them should be getting level 2 off of just the first wave. It's probably hard to punish an Azir. I'm not expecting that all-in to happen from Nisqy, but can mean a lot in the top lane. That thing is so volatile down there as the lanes show up. Perfect CS so far for Zven, as Cody Sun's going to knock down these best he can as well. Blaber just on the power farm duties. Blue start, machete, chunking down single target camps, no problem as Olaf.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have seen a couple different looks so far. Blaber obviously yesterday. A lot of it was about invading, about getting really aggressive. Trying to steal away camps constantly with this Olaf, and he also did go for a fairly aggressive build yesterday with the Warrior. We've been seeing mostly Warrior thus far this season, whereas in the past, especially last season, we had been seeing a lot more kind of tank Olaf. They do have quite a bit of damage in this comp, so I'm going to be interested to see if he wants to go for that full damage style to kind of pair up with that Yuumi and fly in there and try to knock people down early.
A very small early CS lead to Licorice, but Ssumday smells a little bit of blood in the water, lands the slow. Licorice better be careful. The punch comes in, Flash would kill him. and that means Licorice has to flash away. Well, Ssumday's winning lane against the counter pick early on as Licorice steps too far up.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the danger of Ornn into these melee matchups, is that, yes, this is a matchup where as you scale in GP, you can really comfortably farm and get towards that late game, but the brittle procs just do so much damage, and now that the wave hasn't been able to be pushed in, Licorice was looking to try to shove that wave, wasn't able to get it in, is down flash, and now he's in this really exposed spot where if he backs off, the wave is frozen. If he doesn't, he's exposed to a gank, and Meteos is up here, so I think Licorice is probably gonna die without that flash. Yeah, he's dead.
Jump. Here comes the slow. Not a possible way to leave this one. Knockup's not gonna land just yet, but easy pickup there. First blood to 100 Thieves. Meteos sets up Ssumday.
Really well played, and the fact that the first blood goes, okay, flash for flash there, not too bad, but the fact that the first blood goes to Ornn makes it even harder. And guess what? He doesn't even get to just walk back to lane. He's got a TP because the wave is still screwed. The wave is still frozen up there, so he needs to get this into the turret. And this is one of those situations where the one mistake early on from Licorice starts a snowball. The fact that he, misplayed those early trades, he has to flash, means he still needs to stay around, unfreeze the wave, means he dies, now he has to commit the teleport, and it can start to kind of snowball these errors into a difficult situation. So good punish by Ssumday and Meteos, and we'll see how Licorice can recover.
He's going to do his very best, manages to push the wave the rest of the way in. We saw Blaber was able to take the top river. They actually kind of saw each other, Blaber and Meteos. So, okay, knows Kindred has to back off, knows the Olaf's around. That finally gives Licorice the safety to finish the shove, force him to recall, make him teleport back. All right, so flash advantage, itemization's pretty close between the two, all things considered. But yeah, the flash of Licorice in the next 3 minutes obviously means that can be another gank target.
Yeah, and the other part of that I have to address also is the fact that while Meteos was spending that time ganking, that allowed Blaber to do bottom side scuttle and then charge straight up to top and actually take that away from him. So Meteos didn't get a mark from either of those scuttles, is going to be behind in farm. And then it can get into this situation where, if you try to regank and Olaf is there and Olaf is just way stronger than that Kindred, Olaf can just completely change that fight out. So that can be pretty rough, and you can see Ssumday actually used his TP, but has taken the bad end of a couple trades immediately after, so Gangplank is sort of securing himself back in this lane. As Ssumday, pretty low on mana, behind on health. If you get hit by too many of those Gangplank Qs with Grasp up, you are going to get chunked out and really start to lose control in that area.
Well, right now, though, Meteos is going to go back to the bottom side of the map, and with Stunt and Cody Sun finishing their recent recalls, interesting kind of an early timing for the Aphelios, goes for Xert Thieves over the more standard if you can get it BF sword recall, but adds the extra ward down there as well. Already there for the Drake, and a very, very early pickup. 100 Thieves going to be stacking that objective quickly.
I think it was actually really smart, and it just seemed like it was more of kind of a window of opportunity. You're playing against the TP Ezreal, so you need to take those recalls as Aphelios, I think, when you can, to not get sometimes stuck under the turret. And Ssumday here looking for the all-in.
Oh, he broke the first barrel, has the easy punch. No, goes for the ward, doesn't hit Licorice. I don't know if that was a misclick or if he meant to go for that one, but Licorice now feels comfortable to hit back as Ssumday is out of cooldowns, leeches some health back up.
Seemed like Ssumday misplayed that a bit. There was a bit of, it looked like a canceled auto. We did have the brittle proc. Not sure that went as well as he was hoping. Licorice also still has the ultimate, so Ssumday, going to be a bit of an awkward spot. But yeah, I mean, I think it was just kind of a window of opportunity for Aphelios to take that reset. Getting that early dragon is great, especially when Kindred is the one behind the pace of the Olaf. We saw it yesterday. Cloud9, was kind of having this back and forth game with FlyQuest, and the reason they really started to actually take over was the objectives, right? They got themselves Soul, they got themselves Elder, they took all the Rift Heralds up in the top lane, so denying that stacking condition was great.
I feel like Blaber wins that. He's level 6. What does Meteos do against that? Of course, the problem is Azir is here first, but Nisqy can come right over as well. The flash to follow. Meteos forced to flash back over the wall. Axe gonna land. The health bar is so low, and Cannon Barrage grants Licorice a kill against the opposing jungler. Ties the gold right back up.
They're going to push this in. There's no escaping for Ssumday. He has no TP. It's 3-man top. Azir is mid. The jungler's dead. They know there's no way out for this, so they just need to do it cleanly. Pulling aggro here.
Early flash. He's going to get rid of the top, but the knockups are still there. It's an easy walk away. Nisqy has no problems making that dive happen. Blaber going to leech some gold, saying, Licorice, that's okay. I'll farm it for you. Don't worry about it. The plate's not going to go waste. Really just prioritizing that Olaf farm, as he can grab the plate if he wants it and takes down the rest of the wave.
Yeah, that is actually so interesting that they're giving that much to the Olaf, and to me that really says that they are going to be counting a lot on Olaf plus Yuumi as a combo to kind of run over the mid game. You know, donating that gold with both solo laners there, it's actually the jungler who stays and, you know, picks up the plate, picks up that extra wave. That is going to be looking really, really good for him. Obviously, the other part of that, too, is that the solo laners wanted to take that time to reset immediately, whereas, you know, Blaber was more okay to stay out on the map. He now has his warrior completed, so things looking really, really good for Cloud9 off of that. And Ssumday, you know, not only did he not have the TP, he didn't have flash, so they want to make this play. Blaber knows he can always win that 1v1. He's actually just waiting for Galio to be in range of the ultimate. As soon as Galio is in range, he flashes in on Meteos. It's another axe over the wall. And then just that last axe, plus the Gangplank ultimate, was enough to get the kill. And with Kindred dead, there's just no escaping this for Ssumday. And C9 plays it really, really well. Notice how they actually hold the taunt until after the flash is used. Blaber runs in, threatening melee, but doesn't pull aggro himself. You know, they played that out really, really well. They wait for somebody to spend the spells, meaning there's no way for him to really outplay it. Then the taunt lands, and he gets knocked down.
Yeah, pretty beautifully done right there. Cloud9, you can see 1,100 gold ahead now in this game. Despite the Meteos first blood, the one given over to Ssumday, they've obviously answered it very, very well. Quick check onto the bottom lane. 15 CS lead for Zven and Vulcan. Blaber back in the jungle. Level lead over Meteos. Fight's going to come through, but here's the ulti follow through. Meteos can keep himself alive. And this is going to be a trade that's going to go 100 Thieves' way for a short time. Knock up there, but Galio over the wall, and Nisqy claims one. How about the re-engage, though? Nisqy himself, flashless, doesn't find the knockup. Ssumday knocks down the brittle and has to jump away, though. It's 3v2, but damage for Ryoma nearly knocks down Nisqy down to 150 health. Licorice, though, is here to keep the team alive, and out goes Cloud9 with a kill.
Yeah, nice kill there, going heavy on the invade. Again, they had the quicker roam from Nisqy because he has that mid lane push. And, you know, Ryoma did a good job of kind of pushing the rest of the Cloud9 members away to dissuade them from continuing that fight, not allowing them to get additional kills on the back end of it. But still, another thing going the way of Cloud9. A second kill here onto Nisqy now, and he is going to be going for an early proto belt. It does seem like the AP Galio burst can become pretty darn frightening, and getting that early proto belt sets you up so well for the teamfight stage.
Yeah, and so far, so good. Cloud9 is comfortable with a 1,400 gold lead as it grows off of that previous kill. As you can see, Ssumday having to really respect Licorice's damage output. There's 22 CS lead up there now already. Obviously, bot lane we checked in. Remaining at 15, recalls come through. That's the BF sort for Cody Sun, the Manamune, stacking up without problems as well for Zven. So it feels like Cloud9 was able to ignore bot lane as they quietly pick up their win. But to point out, the second Drake is up. 100 Thieves got the first one, and Meteos is there on cooldown, ready to go for it again.
Yep, he is going to be trying to look towards stacking that up as much as possible. And Stunt, you do not win this, my friend.
He is going to be fast. He's going to come back out with the team, and Olaf is just charging in as the knockups follow through. Double kill already for the squad, and Cody Sun trades one back. Flashed away from Nisqy. He's on fire, though. Just gets away from True Shot Barrage, but under 100 health left on him. Maybe could have turned that fight around. It was close, but still a 2-for-1 to Cloud9.
Yeah, nicely played by Cody to get out in the end. Had to dodge out on a couple of those skill shots, but yeah, 2-for-1 for them. And Stunt, you know, hooking in there on the Olaf. Yes, the Olaf is down, what, 40-50% HP, but unless you have someone immediately there to follow up and burst them down, it's not like support damage does anything to an Olaf. You know, his self-healing alone is going to just be more than enough to keep him alive and to knock you right down. That is exactly what happened. They had the GP ulti coming up from that top, so this is more the kind of plays that I was expecting from Cloud9, looking down towards that bottom side, utilizing the GP ult. But it is 100 Thieves back to the dragon immediately. We'll see if they can actually force this, because Cloud9 is closing in on both sides, and it may end up just being the leash for C9.
Yeah, it's at half already, and no one wants to stop this. Cloud9 back to their absurdly winning ways the spring split. It's Blaber and Nisqy, 100% participation, now to the bottom lane.
Yeah, so this is that replay from earlier. Stunt hooks in, but no one's there immediately to follow up, so you're just going to die. Galio ultimate is available. He gets burst down. You know, we see that Meteos quickly goes down after. A nice trade kill from Cody, and you know, good job sidestepping the Ezreal ult there to survive. But just a poor engage from Stunt. You know, he would have had to wait until people were a little bit closer to immediately follow up on that Olaf. Because if you're going to engage on Olaf, you must burst him down immediately. or the damage, it really becomes pretty out of control. You know, at low health, with Conqueror stack, your ceiling is pretty insane.
Yep, it's pretty painful here. Zven just forced to wave clear and hold up onto the turret. Not a problem, though, for him. It's, you know, you can see half a plate has been taken down by 100 Thieves down there. Mid lane has lost 1 plate. That's really the only stuff 100 Thieves have gotten. 2 kills, a Drake, and a plate and a half. As Meteos now keeps, you know, trying. And honestly, I feel like even though he is dying a fair bit, he's been pretty active on the map. Like I said, he got that first Drake. He got a red steal before. Ryoma's going to get shot down right now as the winds come out. And it's another kill into the mid lane. Still 100% KP for jungle and mid of Cloud9.
Very well done, and now you can see them moving up towards top side. They wanted to go for the Herald, but Meteos does sneak it away. So well done by Meteos, you know, grabbing both the Dragon and a Rift Herald, you know, while pretty far behind in this jungle matchup is a pretty good situation for him to be in. He'll be able to pick up some of that farm mid lane to catch up a little bit there too. Blaber obviously wants the scuttle, but he knows that the bot lane is roaming, so he's actually just hiding behind the wall here until they can get a bit of a better spot where Galio's roaming down to help.
This is the bait. Stunt. You've got no one around you to help. Why are you challenging an Olaf? What was that purpose? And now Ryoma is forced to jump away as well, but Nisqy gets the crowd control, baited in by the hubris of your support. Nisqy, though, is going to be a close fight. Gets the taunt, gets the hit, has to pop the stopwatch, and Zven is there for good measure. Ensures that it's another 2 for 0, and this is going bad to worse for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Zven flashing in with that flash mystic shot over the wall, finishing off Ryoma. But Stunt is just going way too early. That is twice in a row now. This one was even more egregious, to be honest with you. You know, the engages are fine, but you have to have your teammates immediately there to follow up. If they are not there, the engage is not good. It doesn't matter how much of an opportune moment it feels like. You've got to have those people there to immediately burst someone down when you hook in as this Nautilus, especially when you're looking over and seeing, you know, things like the Olaf, things like the Yuumi, that in an extended fight, if you don't get that initial kill, they're going to have so much self-healing, and the fight is going to go more and more the way of Cloud9.
Yeah, and you can't even blame coordination, right? He's playing bottom lane. He knows C9 has wave control over bot lane. He knows Ezreal and Yuumi can move, and he showed himself by clearing that ward. So he knows all the info he needs, which is, I'm a support alone, showing in the river, bots pushed, Ezreal can show, let's fight Olaf. That is just an objective, unforced error that Stunt should be better than making.
It feels like one of those situations where, you know, you're having those games and everything feels like it's going wrong and you just think, I've got to do something. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that mindset where it feels like, I've got to make a play. We're losing. Like, got to make something happen. Olaf's here. Let's go. You know? And it doesn't feel like you're thinking through the entire play, because if he takes that moment to think it through, very clearly there was no chance of that really working out for them. Blaber up here. It looks like they want to set up for a dive. The bot lane is moving up. They spot Meteos, but it would still be a 4v2, and they're just going to call it off. As you can see, Zven going back to mid lane. Galio's down on that bottom side. You know, the only kind of problem here with the lane assignments for Cloud9 is when you have Galio down in that bottom lane, he can't really assist on the side of the map that Blaber is playing to. But looks like it's going to be an engage up here.
Well, they're going to try, but without getting the first half of the ultimate land on the Licorice, he sidesteps it and says, I'll be seeing you, buddy. Meteos shows back up, and he gets a bit of a slow. Okay, Licorice is running a bit low on health, but pops the barrel, walks back away. Not a huge problem. I like it. Puts up the tent. You're camping top lane, and I still got a 5 KDA.
I'm loving the emotes, man. They really do add something special. C9's emote game has been pretty good. I think it's a lot easier to be dropping the emotes, though, when you're winning, so...
Yeah, true. Well, he's going to drop a Rift Herald up on the top side, and Licorice will do his best to wave clear, and doesn't get a whole lot out of that one, actually. This is going to be a very dead turret. C9 did already get the first one in the mid lane. They're going to get bot lane here as well from Nisqy, but at least 100 Thieves are on the board with that one, getting occasional objectives as top lane is still cleared. Shelly may just get the second charge, and looks like without a defending minion wave, but will drop this turret to half HP.
Yep. I mean, at this point, you're so far behind as 100 Thieves. You've got to just go where Cloud9 isn't and try to get something, right? So if you know that Olaf is on the bottom side, great. You're not getting to play on the bottom side. You're trying to get a turret on top side. You're trying to scrape some gold together, because, I mean, they're down 6,000 gold here at 17 minutes. It does mean that they lose the bottom turret. It does mean that they lose a dragon. But fact of the matter is, you could go there and try to contest, but all you're going to do is die at this point. You know, they're going to need multiple items on Azir, multiple items on Aphelios before they really have any chance in this game. And when you're looking at the itemization, especially on this Aphelios, it's feeling pretty darn sad. You know, there's a BF sword, a dagger, the boots, the executioner is good against Yuumi, but it's like, he is so far from being threatening. You pretty much have to see the IE plus a Hurricane before you care about Aphelios at all at this point. And, you know, you have so many core items completed on the side of Cloud9. You know, it's Warrior Black Cleaver already done on Blaber here, and this is going to be a dead stun.
Well, he's going to blast over. He's going to get slowed a little bit by Cannon Barrage. They're going to chase right onto the inhibitor turret. Stunt burns a stopwatch, but that means Zven's in range for the WQ, plus the Axe for Blaber. And another kill is on the board for Cloud9. It is best run away. It's still not going to be enough. A 0-3 support. Nautilus tried his hardest to run away.
And when you are these tank supports and you're really far behind, you just don't have enough levels, you don't have enough gold to really be tanky, right? You know, that is his flash down, that is his stopwatch down, and it's going to be a really rough one for Stunt. You know, generally when you get behind on a tank support, it doesn't usually get a lot better throughout the game. You can see he's 2 levels behind his counterpart in Vulcan. You know, he's 4 levels behind on the jungler. He's 5 levels behind on these solo laners, which means you really are just food at this point. It's pretty much a one-way trip anytime he's going to hook in. He'll likely die immediately thereafter, so it's going to have to be a very high-value engage if he's going to look for one.
He's going to hope his very hardest that it can happen, but there's not a lot of great targets, right? Gangplank cleanses it, Olaf's immune to it. Galio's the biggest tank on the squad, and Yuumi's untargetable as Ezreal jumps away. So, Triforce done now for Zven. He's scaling up nicely. Ssumday has to look at another couple levels forward until those upgrades come through. So even the Ornn power spikes aren't up yet. Those items are there. Just waiting for them to be, you know, red bordered and, you know, 1,800 gold worth of stats to come through. At some point that'll happen, but just not yet. Blaber goes for Herald number 2 as late as possible. It's going to despawn at 55 into the game, and over 20 seconds should die, so they'll get it. It'll be kind of the max damage Herald can be. It deals damage based on the level of champions when it's killed, so very late one means a pretty damaging Herald.
Yeah, the itemization is just so good for Cloud9 right now. You know, Essence Reaver's almost done for Licorice. You can see 2 items done in jungler, 2 items done in bot lane, 2 items done in mid lane. You know, they are fully online and ready to fight. Pretty much a full item ahead of almost all of their counterparts. So there really is no fight that 100 Thieves wins right now, unless it is just a pick with, you know, multiple members against one from Cloud9. So Cloud9 is going to try to be stealing away as much of the jungle as they can. Meteos has been very intelligent about his pathing, you know, from a losing position. Yes, you can criticize the fact that he got in that losing position, but you know, he has been playing a very scrappy game, taking away Olaf's jungle when he knows Olaf is going to be in his jungle, farming that, you know, finding objectives on the opposite side of the map. So I do think Meteos is deserving of some credit, you know, playing from this difficult spot, but Cloud9 are just in such a dominant position, and really, you know, one team fight win with this much of a lead could mean Baron.
Yep. So we kind of sit and wait and hope that scaling will kind of win the day for 100 Thieves then, as level 13 came through for Ssumday. He gets the 2 item upgrades. Level 14 means you get a Molten Edge for a good 30 attack damage on a Cody Sun. That's a nice, you know, 1,000 more gold worth of stats as well. So yes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but the tunnel is very, very long, and it's about 7,000 gold
it's
long.
Dark and full of terrors for you.
Yeah, like the lights are out, you know, there's an EMP that detonated or something.
Olaf hiding behind the corner.
Exactly, you've got to be really afraid, you know. So Meteos, speaking of which, has to jump out of his own jungle. He sees a Blaber lurking around, can't deal with that one. No wolves to steal. Actually, the entire jungle is gone, so there's nothing to take away just yet, but Cloud9 knows they have absolute control over, you know, 3/4 of the map right now.
And this Rift Herald could very well mean another turret going their way, as Azir is just going to base, and that probably will mean that being give up. They're actually just pushing mid lane too, so this could be 2 more turrets going the way of Cloud9. There's just, their poke is so strong from this Yuumi plus Ezreal combo. They actually forced out Meteos' flash and ult there just off screen. So they're just going to continue the siege. It's very safe here for Ezreal to just W the turret, walk up, get an auto off with that Sheen proc, get a lot of damage down, and they're now threatening the inhibitor here. 22 minutes in, that inhibitor tower is gone.
That is a taunt that is followed through, and that is a dead Ryoma. Open inhibitor now. Ssumday forced to charge away, but Blaber wants to go for the chase already. Charges in, has to kite back out, but look at the damage output dealt by those barrels. Power spike done for Gangplank. Inhibitor is gone in the bottom lane. Inhibitor turret in the mid, dropping rapidly here as well. How do you defend a 4v5 when you're down 10,000 gold? You probably don't. You bleed the inhibs and you try to live and fight another day. problem is those days aren't getting any longer, and
Yeah.
it's not going to be any easier next time.
This game is the most over. I mean, this is a 10,000 gold lead at 22 minutes with both your inhibitors down. How do you ever defend against a Baron take at this point? Cloud9 have way better turns. They can still pressure, anywhere on the map they want. And 100 Thieves now have to deal with 2 waves of super minions. Pretty much at this point, you're hoping that you can hold out to like 40 minutes, right? And I just don't see that happening when Cloud9 from much more even positions almost always ends the game by 30 minutes. This is looking pretty done and dusted for Cloud9. They have the soul win condition in 5 minutes. They have the ability to just go pressure Baron, send someone with TP down to the bot lane to keep ushering in these super minions, have 4 men over by the Baron, set up there, look to take that, and then end the game.
Now Cloud9 just taking more farm overall in the game. You can see almost every single role out of the ones that don't count, like support, enchanter versus tank. They are out farming down the line. They've poached the jungle. They farm the lanes better. Obviously kills and turrets and drakes and whatnot in their favor as well.
10 kills to 2. They are really looking very, very good. And coming into Summer Split, there was a lot of people, kind of had those questions of how good will Cloud9 look? Will the meta suit Cloud9? Will they be kind of resting on their laurels after that championship win? Will they look as hungry? Well, the answer is they're looking pretty damn good. They win their first game against FlyQuest, who was obviously the second place team, in about 30 minutes. This one is looking on pace for that as well, and they are much more dominant here today. Blaber, I don't think he should be getting Olaf much more. Both his Olaf games, he has completely been running over their opponents, and now they're looking for a gauge.
Ooh, they find the taunt, they find the kill. I think it was Cleanse just to pop the sorcery rune, if he even has
Nimbus
it.
Cloak,
yeah, to get some Nimbus Cloak move speed and catch up to his opponent. That's going to work nicely. And now in we go. This is going to be Baron getting dropped down. No opposing jungler. You might throw a skill shot, but at the same time, why even bother for 100 Thieves? It's almost unstealable. They're not going to get to try. Ryoma gets locked up. Over the wall goes Zven, grabs the kill. Nice attempt by Ssumday, but the ult's not going to claim it. 5v3 on the map. Here comes the chase. Stunt's going to run for his life. He's going to find a stun on his Zven. He's going to get taunted into the turret, though, and he's going to die to Nisqy. Cloud9 3-0 on that fight. The Baron picked up now already, and it's ready to go into the base itself.
Yeah, that'll do it. They can probably just push in here and close out the game. They have supers mid lane. You can see Blaber is pushing that in. Looks like they want to go for the dive on Meteos first.
Now they're going to force the ulti out. When's the drop down going to happen? Not going to burn the ulti. It's going to hold on to that one, but it is going to mean another kill. It's Ssumday running away. Almost goes down, but just stays alive as Cody Sun sits in the back and waits for his chance to get into a fight. Turret's going to fall yet again. Third open inhibitor, but on the Nexus turrets, it's going to be Cloud9 going for a 26-minute win. They dominated the LCS in the spring split, and they are still dominating the LCS in summer. Looking for the back-to-back victories. Cloud9 looks like the definitive best team in North America. Got more fights to have, but this is going to be another Nexus falling. Cloud9 taking names so far all of 2020 as Nexus falls and Cloud9 start the LCS 2-0.
What a game from Cloud9. I mean, they made this look so easy against 100 Thieves, honestly. Start to finish, really well played. The kind of lone bright spot for 100 Thieves was that early first blood up in the top lane. But after that, it was basically everything, all Cloud9, the whole game through. There were some kind of standout mistakes from 100 Thieves. You could see Stunt, some poor engages that led to some early deaths from him. And Cloud9 really just doesn't need much of an edge to completely run over a game, as we have seen. This has been a pretty dominating first weekend for them.
Yeah, they look exactly like they have kind of all year long so far. Is just Cloud9 are just kind of better than everybody else. That's just what it's been so far for them. As they find people to knock down, it's been kind of amazing just to see them, absolutely destroy everybody. It's been good stuff so far. Well, either way, though, that is going to do it for us. It's time to step away. When return, we will have a look at what's going on as the Tigers will have a Verizon postgame interview with Cloud9's Licorice.